Alright, we'll get started with class number 8. So I'm just going to start with a regular square, rectangle, whatever you want to draw there. And don't make it too small. The shapes we're going to put inside are quite large today, so make it, a good size. So you're going to draw some random circles anywhere inside. Some should be whole inside, and some should be kind of off of the edge, so kind of cut off on the side like it shows here. So now you're going to take any two sections and you're going to kind of make a wavy line through the middle. You don't want it to be too far off from the edge, just kind of through the middle like that. And then inside of each circle, you're going to draw another circle, a pretty large circle. This circle should go on both sides of the line. You can go ahead and draw that first and then draw your line through it if you want. So I'll draw these over here. That one won't have one. And then that way they're already set for when I draw my other lines. So we're just going to work on these first two here. 1/2 of the center circle, I'm just going to color in solid black. And then on that same side of the line, I'm going to draw the next one in solid black. So I'm not going to cross over the line, it's both going to be on what would be the right-hand side of the wavy line. Both of those sections will be solid black. And as you can see on the video, I left a little section of my black that's a little bit thinner, kind of create like a little, light area. You don't have to do that. It's just by the way you achieve that is kind of just spacing out the marks of your pen. A little bit more like that. Then you can go over and kind of add a little bit more in if you don't like, it's a little large, so add a little bit more in there. That's optional though. So then on the other side of the black section, you're going to draw some little circles. They should be varying sizes, but you can really do whatever you'd like. If you want them all the same size, that's totally fine. I call this the river rock look, but I don't actually know what it's technically called in the Zen doodle world, but just little circles. And then again on that same side, the left side of the line, you're going to do anything else in that center section with more circles there. This one's really skinny, so it just has a couple. So they're opposites. So on the set, I'm going to do more circles on the opposite of where I have the circle. So you have to imagine that your wavy line is kind of your dividing line for when you switch patterns. So on the left side, in the center circle, I have circles, little circles. And on the right side, in the big section of the circle, I'm doing circles. So you see how it's opposite. You don't put little circles with little circles or black with black or whatever else. It should be opposite. This part does take a little bit of time to get all these circles in here. But just listen to the music and kind of relax your mind and don't get stressed out about your circles. You can do them however you want. Alright, so then again, in the next one, on the right-hand side of the line, I'm going to fill that section with circles. So it's going to surround the black center section, just like on the other large circle. Alright, so I have those 2 circles basically done. I'm going to go ahead and draw my wavy lines through the other 2 circles at the top, making sure that it goes through the center section of the circle, and the same on the bottom. So the wavy line goes through that center circle. And I did on this bottom, on these 2 right here, I did the mini circles here, so I'm going to do the same mini circles on the bottom of the center section of this circle. This one here doesn't have one, so we'll skip that. And I did the black section there on that one, so I'm going to do the black section on the left on this section, on this circle, excuse me. And then the opposite side will be mini circles. So now if I go back to this bottom one, the right side of the first 2 that I did has the mini circles. So now on this other line, which is the one I'm working on, the left side will have the mini circles. Do you kind of see how the pattern goes? So the outside ring of all the circles in this one wavy section is going to be mini circles, and then the centers of those are going to be black. So that's kind of the pattern. So when we go to the other side, it's going to be the opposite. The 2 center sections, if you look at the 2 circles at the top, the 2 center sections have the mini circles, and then the outside of the very top circle will be black. So do you see how it's kind of opposite? That's how you have to look at this pattern. Alright, so here's my mini circles here. I'm going to do the opposite side now of the big section of the circle with the mini circles as well. And then that little center section will be black. The other circle here and put the mini circles on the same side, which will be the left side of the wave. And then the center holes, our center section of the mini circle is going to be black like the other ones. Okay, so now my circles are all set. Now I'm going to work on the background. So I have the mini circles here, and then it's going to be a white section. And so all of this background area between all the circles in just this wavy section, or this section between the 2 wavy lines, is going to have mini circles. This part can get a little tedious, but again, just try to relax. And just try to think, it's just a bunch of circles. The repetition to calm your mind. It's not supposed to be annoying. So if it's annoying, just put your pen down and walk away, or just kind of focus on the music for a little while. Or you can do something else. If you prefer not to do the circles, you can figure out another section of the pattern to work on instead of doing circles. Okay, so that's pretty much the pattern. If you wanted to do with a Sharpie or a bigger Sharpie, if you didn't like all the white, you could certainly fill that in with the black and do it because it's kind of the opposite. But don't color in those circles. I guess it doesn't matter. You could fill it in black if you'd like. The only thing that I'm going to do with the Sharpie is make my wavy line a little bit darker. I think it kind of gets lost a little bit when it's sandwiched between the circles. So I'm just going to add a little bit thicker line. You can just use your pen, whatever it is that you have, to make that a little bit thicker if you wish to do that. That's completely optional, by the way. You don't have to. I just like how it makes it pop a little bit more. Alright, so in the second one, I'm going to draw a rectangle for this one, but you can do whatever shape you want. It can be a circle, whatever you want to do. And this is just a big mishmash of rectangles. They don't have to be square. I'm going to kind of do mine with a little bit curved corners, so it's a little bit easier to draw, it's a little bit faster. But the trick to it is try not to get any of the lines to overlap the line of another one. So you just want them to kind of, I don't know, intersect like that, and they should be all varying sizes. You can use different thicknesses if you have different thickness of pens. Some should be very large, some can be very little. It's really random. You can try and do it like, look, see that one, the line there matches with that. You want to try to avoid that. I wasn't really looking ahead where I was drawing it. So you want to try to avoid where the lines overlap like that. You can kind of break that up a little bit by hiding it under some other rectangles. I'll get to that when I get to that section, but I just kind of work my way across what I think looks good. There's no rhyme or reason to the pattern. I just try to get it so that the corners are kind of rounded. I kind of like that whimsical rectangle. It's also a little bit easier to draw. You don't have to worry about being completely straight or completely perfect in your points. It's kind of just a random rectangle. And you should have some that go off the page like that, where they're not completely inside. Makes it look, of course, like the pattern keeps going beyond what window you've cut out or drawn with your marker. And you should have some that they should all intersect at least another rectangle. You shouldn't have any that are by themselves completely. So sometimes after you draw a line, you have to kind of look at where you want that to go. Kind of look ahead of it before you actually just, randomly draw them. If you kind of look a little bit as you're going, kind of like when you're looking ahead at the road when you're driving, you want to look a little bit ahead, just make sure that you're not covering up another line or that you're not repeating the exact same direction or whatever you want to do. So as you get down to the end, you just kind of want to look for some like empty spaces and fill those in just a little bit, so you don't have any like big sections. So the very last step that I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of take some of the smaller, it's kind of like looking for the little squares where the rectangles overlap each other. There should be some sections that have like little small rectangles or little small squares in the center. You just want to color those in black, or if you want to add a color or like a gray color, whatever you want to do with pencil. Whatever it is that you want, but you kind of want to have them so that they're not 100% next to each other, but that they're sporadic throughout the section. And again, this is optional. If you do like just the random pen drawn lines of the rectangles, you can just leave it like that. It's up to you. As you're going through, you might see that maybe you need another little black dark square in a certain section. You can always just add more rectangles like I just did. Again, there's no rhyme or reason to it. You just kind of want to look and see where maybe you need a little bit of a black section, or just, I guess it's up to you. Like this one, it's kind of bare in here. Draw another one right there and then get a little black section right there. So I think that looks good. And now we're going to go on to the borders, the last one that we're going to do. You're going to draw a really big humped wavy line. So it can be, a big bubble, or it can be just some little waves. And then you want to go kind of the opposite of the waves. They shouldn't touch, but you want to have kind of the opposite on the bottom line. So something like that, where it looks like there's like bulbs or a little, like a snake who's just eating a big mouse or something. And then you're going to draw some, little arched lines. It can go the opposite direction if you prefer yours to go the opposite way. But you want to make sure that you have odd number of sections. So I have, as you can see here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 actual sections that I'm going to draw in. So I had to draw 6 lines. So you have to make sure that you're going to go with an odd number, 3, 5, 7, 9, whatever you want to do. And they should be varying, quantity. Like this one here, I'll draw 7 sections on it, and maybe the next one I'll draw 3 or whatever. Some are a little bit closer together than others. It doesn't really matter. You can do this in a radiating type of thing, where it starts out where the lines are really skinny together, and then they kind of separate as you go to the right or the left, whatever you do. So I'm going to do, maybe I'll just do 3 there, see how that looks. And then I'll do another 5 and maybe another one on the very end there. You don't want them to be like smack dab next to each other. If you leave a little gap, but the gaps in between, like the white areas, can all be different dimensions. They don't have to be evenly spaced. Alright, so to fill in these sections, you're going to think of 1/3 and 2/3. So the first one I'm going to do a 2/3 line, the third one I'm going to do 2/3, and the fifth one I'm going to do 2/3. And then in the second section and the fourth section, I'm going to draw a line at 1/3. So you see how there's a long section and then a long section, a long section. So it should alternate, kind of looking like different teeth that come from different directions. You're going to follow that same type of pattern through the rest of them. And then in every section that's short, you're going to color that in black or whatever color you want to use. So here's the short one of this first one, I'm going to color that black. And then in the third one, it'll be the same. So in the top one, these top ones, where it's the 1/3, I'm going to color in just this short section on the opposite side. I'm going to color those in black. So I'm going to do that exact same pattern in all of the other ones. You can go ahead and draw them all. If you'd like the 1/3, 2/3, whatever, you can draw that all the way across every one so that you know where you're coloring. Just make sure you watch where you're putting your 1/3 and your 2/3, so it should be opposite. And again, only the short sections get colored in black. The long sections stay white. I'm going to do this one here. These are going to be a little bit further apart, but I'm still going to do the 2/3, 1/3 thing. I'm not sure I'm going to like this 3 section. I think it's going to be a little too, I think it's too large, but we'll see. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm just going to run with it, see how it looks. Alright, so you can kind of leave this pattern alone if you'd like, or you can put something else in the white areas if you'd like, but I'm just going to go ahead and shade it. I'm just going to use a standard pencil. You can use illustration pencils or, you know, actual artist pencils if you have those, but if you don't, it will work with a standard pencil. So you just want to add, kind of on the outside, you want to add, it's on the inside of the line, so it's on the actual pattern, but it's right against the line. You just want to do a really, really light coloring of pencil. So if you notice, my hand is kind of halfway down the length of the pencil. I'm just going to work in one section. I'm not going to worry about shading the entire side at one time. I'm going to work it in different sections. So you start out with a light coloring first, and then every so often, once you get it kind of looking how you like, you just go a little bit darker right against the wavy line there. So if you can kind of see, it's adding a little bit of a darker section right on the line, and then you can kind of gradually pull that out a little bit by just adding a little bit darker section kind of in here, just so it looks like it feathers in. And again, this is all really lightly done, and then I'll go back over and over and over again until I get the shading or the pencil in there how I like. Don't worry about it if it's not 100%. We're going to go back and smudge it later. So just do your very best with trying to get it to be kind of a lightly feathered look, where it's darker by the line and then lighter as it goes towards the center of the pattern. Alright, so now I'm just going to use the tip of my finger. My finger is clean, so you don't want to use a dirty hand, obviously. And you're just going to smudge right over the top of where you put your pencil. You don't want to smudge it to the point where it completely disappears or it makes all the colors blend together to the same value, but you want to just kind of smudge it a little bit to get all those straight pencil marks off of there. And it'll kind of feather it into the center a little bit, making it a little bit more gradual. So after you're done, you can go back and erase the outside edge, so don't worry about going over the edge. You know, if you go on the back side a little bit, you need a little bit more here. I think it looks a little too the same color, so I'm going to add a little bit darker section right here. And then I'll go back and smudge that again. So then I'm going to use the eraser, and just on the very outside of my pattern, I'm just going to erase the pieces where I went over the edge, so it looks very clean and crisp and lovely. I'm going to go ahead and do that on the other side as well. That looks pretty good. So you can actually add the shading, to this top one too if you wanted to make those little white sections of the circles pop off. It'd be the exact same process. You just start kind of along the outside and apply pencil layer after pencil layer until you get to the desired shadow effect, I guess. It's kind of hard to see, but you don't have to be quite as careful because you have those circles on the back. So it's kind of nice, but again, this is completely optional. You don't need any of that. It's just showing you that you can do. So again, the outside edge of the circle should be where the darkest amount of shading is. And then you just run your finger in the same shape so it's going to be kind of a semicircle shape. And then just fill it in however you'd like. If you need to add more pencil at that point, you can. So I hope you enjoyed the class today. I think these are kind of just fun little whimsical designs. And we'll see you again next week for class number 9. Have a great day.